gentlemen, it's time to announce all of our roast panelists. Are you ready? Please welcome to the stage the one and only, it's Monet Exchange. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, it's Tina Burner. Please welcome Anita Buffum. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ms. Cracker. Please welcome the one and only, it's Sutton Lee Seymour. She's a new queen on the scene. Makes the noise for the one and only, it's Bob the Drag Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Marty Gould Cummings. And of course, the one and only, the queen of the hour, it's Miss Sherry Vine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the roast of the one and only Sherry Vine, brought to you by Revry. Make some noise for Revry. We're gathered here tonight to laugh at Sherry's successes, make fun of her failures, and get very, very drunk. I'm joined tonight by some of her closest friends, longtime peers, and esteemed colleagues.
Where?
Also, thank you to Littlefield for hosting this night. What a beautiful venue. We were supposed to actually do this at G Lounge, but Bob and Monet are here, so we had to switch venues. You might be wondering why I specifically was asked to be the roastmaster tonight, and I'll tell you I was a bit shocked myself, because Sherry Vine and I don't really know each other that well, but let's be honest, Revry couldn't afford Bianca Del Rio. I mean, we're very lucky that Bob accepts EBT, otherwise we couldn't get her in Brooklyn. Sherry, congratulations. I heard that you booked a show at the Israeli TLV Film Festival coming up in just a few months. That won't be the first time that an American has sent a bomb to the Middle East this year. Speaking of Israel, I'm not sure if you know, but Sherry Vine is Jewish. Sherry claims that, yes. Sherry claims that her views have over 6 million views. What a typical Jew. Making a big deal over 6 million things that just don't really matter. I mean, Sherry Vine was such an ugly baby. When her grandparents took a look at her, they became the first 2 Jews to regret surviving the Holocaust. And yes, if you're keeping score, that's 2 Holocaust jokes in the first 5 minutes. That's how things are gonna go tonight. Now we have to acknowledge the first thing about Sherry Vine, and that is, of course, that Sherry Vine is very, very old. Looking around the room, I'm expecting a lot of old jokes are gonna happen, so I'm just gonna get a few out of the way right now. Sherry Vine is so old, when she was born, the Dead Sea was just getting sick. Sherry Vine is so old, her first parody was a silent film. And that didn't get any views either. Sherry Vine is so old, she remembers when RuPaul did her own makeup. She's so old, she was the only dinosaur they didn't have to animate for Jurassic World. Sherry Vine is so old, she still makes black dick go in the back way. Sherry has some of the most immature humor around. I'd ask her to grow up and act her age, but I'm afraid she'd die. She's also not really exactly known for her style. I mean, look at her clothes. She clearly shops at Oshkosh B'goshwitz. Yeah, that's 3 Holocaust jokes. Our first roaster of the night, Monet Exchange, is New York's drag sweetheart. We all know this. You're perfect, you're beautiful, you look like Linda Evangelista, did you sew those tights? I actually had a really hard time writing jokes about Monet Exchange because I am deeply, deeply in love with her. That's not a joke, it's just a sad truth. Also, I heard that Monet is driving Sherry home after this event. And my question is, Monet, what is your Uber rating? It's gotta be tough being a strong black drag queen in Manhattan. When Monet walks down the street, tourists often cross the street, but that's just because they've seen her show before. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please make some noise for the one and only It's Monet Exchange.
Oh, this is low, honey. Let me take my shoes off. I can't. Here we go. Thank you, not Thorgy Thor. Did you all know that Ruby is actually the daughter of Misty and Mocha? That abnormal face, poor coordination, low intelligence. She's showing us that fetal alcohol syndrome is not a death sentence anymore. And we're so proud of you, so strong. I'm kidding, she's great, and I just love going to all of your show. They're great. Speaking of alcoholics, we have Tina Burner in the house. Tina Burner, this is your second chance. Are you ready for this roast, girl? We all know about that infamous moment at Bianca Del Rio's. Actually, that was the first time that Tina Burner was actually paid to tell jokes, was at Bianca Del Rio's roast. The last time was also at Bianca Del Rio's roast last year. Now she just walks into the Ritz on Mondays and tells them for free to ones and twos of people. It's great, it's lovely. Tina Burner's set was so rough, it was like the House of Aja before Facetune. It was very good. And we have Marty Gould Cummings in the house. Sorry, Marty's, they're interchangeable, white people. Marty's need for attention is right on par with Tina Burner's tacky outfit choices. They are both very, Exhibit A, look at everyone, look at that. This is a Diane, no, I'm kidding, it's not. What Marty shows and Auschwitz have in common is that people would rather die than stay there, girl. I'm fucking funny, bitch, yes. Now listen, I could go on and on about Marty, but where would that leave Sutton Lee Seymour? Sutton, look at you, baby. We're proud of you. Matter of fact, I'm running out of time, so just cut and paste all those Marty jokes, but take out the popular one, then it'll make sense, Yes. To those who don't know, Sutton is not just a theater queen, she's also a pageant title holder. She give it up for Miss Kibbles and Bits 2017. Isn't she beautiful? Give it up for my good girlfriend, the beautiful Miss Cracker. Clap for her. She looks beautiful, yes? Miss Cracker and I do a show together every Sunday, and every week my back just kills me from carrying the weight of both of us through that evening. But can you blame her though? Because she has financially carried the weight in all of her past relationships. Yes, she only fucks black guys, okay? Only black men. That is a fact. Which makes her a walking AIDS rapid tester. If you fuck her, you've got it, okay, girl? I'm helping Miss Cracker launch her merch website. So far, we have 19 orders. All 19 are from Caitlin Croto. If you don't know who Caitlin is Miss Cracker's friend who follows around all over New York City. And Caitlin is, she's Miss Cracker's one of nearest and bestest friends. She's also living proof that white slavery is a thing, girl. Amen. And speaking of slavery, we have Bob the drag queen in the house. Bob, I know you thought that we were only gonna bring jokes about your makeup and drag race and all that stuff. And we did, but I also brought some about your fucking assistant too, that motherfucker. Bob's assistant, he had his own merch table at DragCon this year, and he was selling his own t-shirts for only $25 this year. That's beautiful. Bob's assistant only made $25 at DragCon this year. But truly, Bob is one of my greatest, nearest, and dearest friends. He's actually taught me a lot about life since he's been on Drag Race. Money doesn't buy you happiness, it doesn't buy you love, or highlight foundation, or lipstick, or anything of that. Or any less tacky costumes. Exhibit B, everyone. Let's look at that one. Bob has been called the Beyonce of drag, not because he's rich or talented, but because now he looks like he's carrying twins, everyone. Can we agree? Heavy, heavy. That was my Sherry Vine homage, thank you. Speaking of people who like Mexican food, we have the lovely and voluptuous Anita Buffum in the house. Yes, Anita Buffum. Anita Buffum fancies herself a comedian, a singer, a YouTube star. 3 of those things are a lie, okay? 3 of them. Anita Buffum was famous. No, I'm sorry. She was she was relevant. No, that's not it either. Anita Buffum used to periodically be tagged in statuses about gigs with her nightlife bestie, Gina Marie, until one day, Anita got hungry. And well, let's just say Gina is no longer with us anymore, okay? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fucking roast of Sherry Vine! Or as Hitler calls her, the one that got away. Sherry Vine is the Florence Foster Jenkins of drag, everyone. Sherry Vine. Okay, now I need your help with this one, okay? Sherry Vine is so old. She uses the ashes of her burnt relatives to knead her matzo balls. Sherry Vine, I'm sorry, Sherry Vine, you are a legend in New York City, and you are a giant in our community. You know, you're like the Megazord of Marty, Sutton, and Ms. Cracker. A tall, slender Jewish lady who always sings out of tune. We love you. You're amazing. You're incredible. Give it up for Sherry Vine. Thank you.
One more time for Monet Exchange, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I was a little nervous about those Holocaust jokes, but they're just gonna keep coming all night long, and I'm so stoked. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce our next roaster. Now, this queen told me tonight that we've actually met many times in the past, which was surprising to me because I can't remember her at all. Anita, I have to admit, I had no idea who you were when I saw you on the roasters list, so I checked out your YouTube channel, and I have one thing to say. Shut the fuck up. But seriously, just be quiet for 1 second. Can you hear that? It's Anita Buffum's shoes screaming for help. And if you listen even harder, you can hear Bob the drag queen's career slowly dying as well. Oh. Please make some noise for the one and only, it's Anita Buffum.
Oh my God, you guys. Hi, how are you? Okay, well, for those who don't know, I'm Anita Buffum. Now listen, I see the looks you're giving me. I used to model for JCPenney's. That's right, we're all so excited to be here, honey, right? For Sherry Vine, honey, I love you so much. You're like the sister I wish I always never wanted. Right, all the way from Astoria, Queens. That's right, thank you so much. Oh, both my fans are here tonight. And we're all so excited to be here. We're all saying hi to everyone, all the talent. Everyone's all dressed up. We're saying to ourselves, hi, darling, hi, sweetie, why, sweetie, and not Sherry? But no, really. They brought all the top talent for you tonight, Sherry, right? I mean, Leslie Jones from SNL is here. Right? You know, I was talking to Monet Exchange, and she told me she's already heard back from Drag Race about season 10. Yeah, they told her, Bob, you can't re-audition. And if you're going to, at least show us something different. Shit. Ms. Cracker is here. And I used to think to myself, what kind of cracker would Ms. Cracker be? Would she be like a fancy Cars cracker, like a Sesame's car that you put caviar on, right? But then I saw your act, honey. And then I realized you're much more relatable than that, like an expired Ritz in a broken down Lunchables. You guys know my friend Bible Girl? Well, her assistant is here, Ruby Roo. Well, she's a big deal. You're a big deal here in Brooklyn. You told me so yourself. You know, we can all learn a thing or two from Tina Burner, and I really appreciate that. In fact, every time I look at Tina Burner, I'm reminded that we all descended from the apes. And thank you for that, because that's history. That's history, you guys. Really. And honey, it's not that I think you're ugly, because I don't, you know? It's just that Caitlyn Jenner wouldn't even fuck you with the dick that she threw away. No, really, I gotta tell you, I'm a big fan. I really am. I'm a huge fan of yours. I've been following you for a long time. I really have. And I think I speak for everybody when I say that the best work you ever in was Graham Norton. Sutton Lee Seymour. Sutton Lee Seymour, honey. I love you. You know, you always surprise me. I thought you were going to wear that one wig, but you wore the other one. And now Sherry Vine. You know, when I met Sherry Vine, two things ran through my mind. Number one, I can't believe I'm meeting somebody I've watched since I was a very little girl. The other was, Jesus Christ, Janice from the Muppets is really, really aged. You know, Sherry likes to brag about how she's in such great shape and how she does yoga and yada, yada, yada. If I have to hear about it one more time, I'm going to slit my wrists. But it's true. You know, she is in great shape for being about 150. But, you know, she can even touch her toes with her pussy. You know, Sherry Vine is a true survivor of the Black Death, the Titanic, the parting of the Red Sea. You know, she even made it onto Noah's Ark. She was passing by with her pet camel, and Noah said, I need 2 of those. She's also a rule breaker, you know. She's proof that, yes, you can put lipstick on a pig. Sherry's such a whore that Bill Cosby looks at her funny. Sherry's such a whore that the movie The Accused is based on her childhood. Sherry's such a whore that the original slogan for Vegas was, what comes in Sherry stays in Sherry. And you know, as you guys can see, I'm one of the nice girls, and so I want to end on a nice message. Because Sherry means so much to me, and you know, Sherry teaches us to be better. Like when Sherry was a little Jewish girl and she prayed to baby Jesus. She prayed to be just like her icon, Carol Burnett. And we can all learn something from this because she only ended up looking like Carol Burnett, you know? Not nearly as funny. So we can learn from Sherry's mistakes. There's over 400 of them on her YouTube channel. Sherry, I love you. And no matter what anybody else thinks, I think you're a legend.
Yeah, keep it going for Anita Buffum. That was good. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to announce our next roaster. Miss Cracker is here tonight. Make some noise for Miss Cracker. The only reason Miss Cracker is here is because Aquaria was already booked. Oh. And she also didn't have a 21 plus ID to get into this bar anyway. It's very interesting. Miss Cracker decided to step up her game a little bit and mix up her outfit, so she came dressed as Holly Box Springs. With a name like Miss Cracker, it's not surprising that she's a privileged white girl. I mean, she's so white, she locks her doors when a Macklemore song comes on the radio. Miss Cracker is so white that she thinks the projects are what you do for extra credit. Miss Cracker was actually a Boy Scout when she was younger. She went to a camp that was specifically for Hebrew Boy Scouts. Unfortunately, Miss Cracker was the only Jew to come back from camp that summer. I lost count at like 18 Holocaust jokes, so we're just gonna move on. It's Sherry can count, good to know. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for Miss Cracker.
Hey everybody! everybody. Everybody say, hey, Miss Cracker. I say, hey, Miss Cracker. Give me some. Just kidding. Don't give me any things. I already have enough things. Hashtag Callan Lord. But let's focus on what we're really here for. An amazing Columbus Circle home, painfully fake-looking blonde wigs, a 4-year-old sense of humor, and a rapidly shrinking fan base. But enough about Donald Trump, everyone. Sutton, I'm not going to bother you too much because technically you're related to Judy Darling, and that's enough of a struggle for anyone to go through. No, Judy Darling is a tough person, girl. That poor bitch is emptier than industry on a Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying? This is why even presidents have term limits, Sherry. Let me tell you something. We also have Marty Gould Cummings. Now, Marty, I usually leave you alone because you're like a Puerto Rican bottom. You know what I'm saying? Fuck with you, you will get shit on. But today I'm going to say just a few things. First of all, watching you try to get your act together for Drag Race is like watching Sherry Vine sing about prep. You just look at it and you're like, it is clearly too late for you, girl. You know what I'm saying? We also have this lovely lady in scare quotes right here. Some of you are like, wait, is it already Ash Wednesday again? No, it's Bob the Drag Queen, everyone. Now, I'm not going to make too much fun of Bob the Drag Queen for obvious reasons, okay? I desperately need her to tag me on Instagram. People like to make the same jokes about Bob the Drag Queen. They like to make fun of her makeup, but I'm not going to do that, all right? Because I don't use other people's jokes. And there are some things that makeup can't fix, of course, like, for example, teeth, all right? Bob sheds teeth like Sherry Vine shedding T-cells. I'm just kidding. Neither of them have any more to lose. Hashtag rock bottom. Ruby Roo is here. She's doing a really great job this evening. I did not know she was funny. I honestly didn't. Please put your hands together. She's very funny. I remember when she was nothing more than a hair bow on the doorknob at Vlada, and now here she is. And this is the spot where I plan to make jokes about Brooklyn, but I know so little about you, I'm not even sure you live in Brooklyn. So I'll move on to Anita Buffum. Totally forgot to say anything about her. But you did say that I'm a Ritz cracker, which, I need to take issue with. I'm unleavened, all right? I'm a matzah cracker. Not all of us are packed with yeast, darling. I think you're projecting. In a surprise move, Tina Burner showed up tonight. Give a round of applause for her. I'm saying it's a surprise because at this time of year, she's usually exhausted from knocking herself out doing photo shoots for her application. Listen, I've got to tell you something. If World of Wonder put as much care into Drag Race as Tina did, it would be in much better condition, okay? And by that, I mean still on Thursday nights, still on Logo, and minus Aja and Alexis Michelle, okay? Now, in their favor, World of Wonder didn't mean to cast Aja and Alexis. Those are just the girls that showed up when they went on Amazon Prime and ordered Roxy Andrews and Naomi Smalls, so I'm just kidding. I love Aja. Just because she steals more numbers than Monet Exchange and paints rougher than Sherry Vine's elbow skin, that does not mean she is not a good queen. She's great. Everyone knows Tina Burner, and everyone that knows her knows she is a cunt. Am I right? Raise your hand if you have personally been victimized by Tina Burner. Everyone has. She really is. As I've gotten to know her, I know it's like to the bone, it's not just an act. Tina's smile is like a Holly Box Springs reveal. Everyone can see what's underneath it from a fucking mile away. You know what I'm saying? Monet Exchange is here, also a surprise. She's wearing Diane von Lastenberg. Such an honor to see you here. Listen, if you guys want to avoid Monet Exchange, show up on time for one of her gigs, you know? If Sherry Vine had a T-cell for every time Monet showed up late, we wouldn't be having this Last Supper tonight, okay? I shouldn't make fun, though. Monet recently moved all the way up to the Bronx, and things have been hard for her. It's been very hard. Not as hard as Sherry looks out of drag, but still very hard. Actually, I think Monet likes the Bronx. Do you like it? So you're okay with it? But she's making up for it. If you were wondering where all the Dominican trade went after no parking closed, that's Monet's apartment, everybody. Every night, Monet is more full of Puerto Rican men than a raft off the coast of Florida, and don't worry about her going hungry. You can rest assured she's at home every night getting bread like Amy's Bakery, okay? And by the way, I wanted to say something really quick. Wow, that AIDS joke, Monet. I want to tell you I have a new system to find out my status for free, and I'll share that with you guys so that you can save money. I'm a Jew. What I do is I date negative guys and make them get tested. And if he got it, I brought it. You know what I'm saying? That's, again, not a joke. It only works for a limited amount of time. I'll tell you about that coupon. But I don't have anything mean to say about Sherry Vine. She's given me guest spots since like day one of my drag career. And she's given me spots in her music videos when I needed a little publicity bump, which I did. And we have a lot in common. Okay, we're both comedy queens. We're both older than I look. We're both politically active, which is true. People don't know this, but Sherry Vine is a real activist. Just the other day, I saw her on 14th Street taking part in an ACT UP Fight Age rally, and it's so inspiring. She's also part of a campaign to educate and empower queer youth called It Gets Better to a Certain Point. But above all, we're both Jews, which means we both recently celebrated Passover. Passover is the Jewish holiday celebrating the day when the Lord literally passed over the Hebrews and put peppermint on Drag Race instead. My best to you, Sherry Vine, and good night.
This is fucking good, you guys. I'm just gonna go right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Tina Burner looks like if Logan Hardcore and Dallas Dubois had an autistic baby. I mean, Tina Burner is so annoying that when she walks into a movie theater, even Monet and Bob are like, oh, damn it. But we should be proud that Tina Burner is doing drag. She's proof that you can attempt to do drag even with 2 extra chromosomes, folks. Monet brought it up, but yeah, I don't know if you saw Bianca Del Rio's 40th birthday roast. Tina didn't exactly knock it out of the park. Tina's comedy was so bad that the last time she killed was at that one concert in Paris. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tina Burner.
Wow. This has been interesting. Do I have to lift this up for? Fuck it. Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight? Everybody all right? Yes, these Tina Burner, Bianca Del Rio jokes roast. Wow. Just top of the game, girl. Was anybody actually at that roast? Anybody? Did anybody see Shaquita? So I did good then, huh? Yeah, at least I actually made it to the tape. Okay. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about why we're really here. I mean, Sherry Vine. Let's give it up for her. Make some noise for Sherry Vine. I'm gonna get back to you. Fuck it. Let's just break right into you. Sherry Vine, she is just an amazing human being. She really knows how to like keep up with the kids. If you ever know her, she's always like, I'm gonna go out, I'm having a Jack and Ginger, just keeping up with the kids. Listen, where all the kids are doing fucking lines of cocaine and fucking taking Molly, she's snorting Metamucil and taking Rolaids. Girl, just popping them, girl, living her truth. I mean, I saw Sherry Vine last night. I was covering for Peppermint because I'm not a star. But I was there, and I saw her just moving her head, and that's how she danced. And I was like, why does she move like that? And I realized that it's to keep yourself on tempo with her pacemaker. So, just you ever seen her just tripping along, girl, like that? It's it. She literally was going in the kitchen like this. I said, yep, just make sure that shit's working. All right, let's move along. Marty Gould Cummings. Well, at least Marty Gould Cummings, she's finally wearing wigs and pads, which is an improvement. Give it up for Marty Gould Cummings, really stepping it up. But the problem with that is we can still see your face and we can hear your voice. So I really, just like a muzzle and some earmuffs would have been great. We always try to think to ourselves, like, what would our target audience be, you know, as drag queens? And I did realize that it's sad because we don't have your target audience anymore. Her name's Helen Keller, so. I recently watched a old video of Marty Gould Cummings. It was an audition video for RuPaul's Drag Race. This is a true story, and you are so welcome for it. Yeah, you're welcome. So she was sitting with long hair, staring into a mirror, singing Empty Chairs at Empty Tables. And I thought to myself, if she got on Drag Race, that's what every bar would be, empty chairs at empty tables. Anita Buffum. I just don't know who she is. I mean, I love that Ariana Grande look you have with little ears on there. It's great. I mean, I'm sitting next to you tonight, and I want to break free, so. But I will say, though, I was trying to figure out who she was. I was like, Gusty Winds was supposed to be here tonight, and if anybody knows Gusty Winds, she lost, you know, a lot of weight recently, and we all wondered where it went. So now we've met, Anita. Yes. I'm sorry. I'd remember your name better if it was Anita Treadmill, so. I'm sorry. You know, I'm sitting next to her, between her and Monet, like this. You know, I felt like just by being in the presence, I've lost 10 pounds. Miss Cracker, I don't have much. You know, I don't think much about her because she thinks enough about herself, so. Monet Exchange. I love Monet Exchange. She's like the Whitney Houston of drag. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's not the voice. She's not like the legend because she sweats more than Whitney Houston in her darkest hours. If you have ever been to a Monet Exchange show, it's like sitting in the splash zone at SeaWorld. I mean, Monet Exchange could make some extra money in the summer by playing one of those fire hydrants that they take the fucking caps off up in Washington Heights so the kids can get wet. So, though, I do say, you know, like Marty Gould and Sutton Lee Seymour, she's here as well, and I thought about you and Anita as well, and the three of you, I was thinking in my mind if I was playing a rousing game or fuck, marry, or kill, which one would I do? And I just, after a long, long thought, and I took it in, and I said to myself, suicide, so. Bob the drag queen. A lot of drag race girls have come up and done some amazing things. And, you know, just tours and comedy specials, and now she sells purses on QVC, but. You know, her and Sherry Vine are working on a new parody video. It's called Squirts Verse. Squirts Verse. But no, I guess lastly I'll say with that, Bob, also, everybody talks about, they're really excited about, the reveals in Drag Race. Like, Bianca came out in that silver gown, and, Violet Chachki with that 18-inch waist and that, like, thing on her head. And it's amazing because I did hear that Bob, the drag queen, is going to do the ultimate reveal. She's going to come out on stage, and we're going to realize that it was Monet Exchange the whole time. But anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy 84 years, my little angel. May you survive as long as the HIV epidemic.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marty showed up to this gig tonight in a gorgeous gown wearing padding, as you've noticed. Stand up, let's see this padding. Well, no, we put this here on purpose so we couldn't see you from the waist down. Marty Gould Cummings is the only drag queen in New York who classifies herself as a new queen but has been doing drag for almost a decade. And that's because she just learned how to wear wigs. Marty Gould Cummings is such an immature little bitch that one time I told her... Let me just start that joke again, because that was pretty good. Marty Gould Cummings is such an immature little bitch that one time I told her I didn't like her makeup, so she changed her profile picture to a picture of her that says, Ruby Roo thinks I'm ugly. Well, guess what, Marty? You still are. Okay. It's not really that she's ugly. It's just you have to look really hard to find something that stands out. Although, I guess you do have a nice smile. You've only had one cavity filled, and that was your asshole by the entire cast of Queen. So now we'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Marty Gould Cummings.
This is very exciting. I would rather be in a classroom at Sandy Hook than up here right now. I have to say, a lot like Fantasia, I'm not good at reading, so it may be a bumpy ride. I will say Sherry Vine and I do share a distinct honor. We're the only two musical artists in the world that can change keys even when the piano doesn't. So that's exciting for both of us for our shows. It's good to see that Monet is here wearing a wig drier than Anita Buffum's asshole because nobody's been in it in the past 25 years. Look at those ends right there. Tina Burner. The only good material you'll have tonight is what you're wearing. Good for you. Tina Burner's like the Khloe Kardashian of our group. She's tall, she's husky, and she's what I ask for when I go to Sears looking for a refrigerator. Can I get the big box? Sutton Lee Seymour. Everybody compares Sutton Lee Seymour and I to each other because we have short hair, which is the reason I started wearing wigs, so people would stop saying I look like an untalented drag queen, and then I realized they were talking about me and not Sutton. I love you. I hope they build the wall so you can't come back from Mexico. Ruby Roo. I would make fun of you, Ruby, but I really am scared of you. Mainly because we share a stable at night. All right. And Bob the drag queen, there was a time once we were doing a show in Philadelphia together, and we rode the megabus home. It was before you had millions of dollars, and I still make the same booking fee, $75, $79. It's really not a lot, which is why I'm wearing this wonderful off-the-rack dress that I borrowed from Ruby. And Bob, there was a time when my makeup was so bad. It was so terrible. I was so desperate for makeup help, I let you paint my face. You also have the distinction of teaching me how to tuck. One night we were in Florida and you grabbed my penis and put it into my asshole, and it was the only time I've ever let a black man up there. Thank you. Unlike Miss Cracker, who is the patient zero for the new disease coming out of Africa, she recently went on a trip to Africa. We both do shows on Hardware on Sundays. I came back and she said that she was shitting everywhere. And I looked at her and I said, this is the spokesperson for Sickle Cell Anemia America, ladies and gentlemen. Here she is. And Sherry Vine, my sweet, sweet Sherry Vine. This is what your funeral will look like, but there's more people here tonight. All right. I love you. When I was a young, budding drag queen, and by drag queen I mean a boy who wore Forever 21 and just lip liner and one eyelash on my forehead and one on my chin, and I thought I was pretty, I would come to your show and you would look at me and think that the Make-A-Wish Foundation sent me, and you would let me on stage. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation is still letting me perform, so thank you for having me here tonight. I love you, Sherry Vine. Thank you.
Also, I'm taking that dress back the moment we're off stage, just so you know, bitch. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of dressing up, tonight, please make some noise for Sutton Lee Seymour. Sutton, I just have one question. Did that dress come pre-stained, or did you add that yourself? You know this is for TV, right? The best part about having Sutton here tonight is that we don't have to listen to her sing. But we will, in just a second, have to listen to 4 to 8 minutes of her totally bombing on stage. So just prepare. Beyond being completely talentless, you have terrible taste. Why on earth would you put a wig on your head to make you look more like Marty Gould Cummings? Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for the one and only, it's Sutton Lee Seymour.
Oh my God, wow, what a joy and a pleasure it is to be here in Brooklyn. But hello, everybody. My name is Sutton Lee Seymour. I'm very happy to be here with a bunch of clowns and gowns. It's really, really wonderful. Thank you, Ruby Roo, for the warm remarks. You know, I don't know you very well, Ruby. I really don't. But I do know one thing, girl. Those aren't eyebrows. Those are face merkins. Ruby Roo's drag often answers the question, what would Helen Keller been like as a stylist? But I love you. I really do, because I promote positivity. Anyway, Anita Buffum. Honey Pie, I'm very happy to see you again. It's been a while. I'm happy to see you. But Honey Pie, if anyone wanted to see Roots that poorly done, they'd ask Tyler Perry to remake the miniseries. Did I say something wrong? Tina Burner, ladies and gentlemen. Tina Burner is a legend, ladies and gentlemen, just like the Sasquatch. They both actually share the same height, the same shoulder length, and people actually wonder if they really exist. Sad but true. But what can I really say about Tina Burner that hasn't already shown up in a Callan Lord blood test? What? No, listen, the last time Blonde and Black went this poorly together, Nicole Simpson and a gay waiter died. But I love you, honey. Monet Exchange, honey. Monet, listen, Monet Exchange is proof. I'm giving you a compliment. Monet Exchange is proof that you don't need Drag Race to have a successful career or talent. But no, the truth is I do love her. Monet is actually the world's most famous Fantasia impersonator, right down to the illiteracy. But I love you. Ms. Cracker. Ms. Cracker is what I wondered and thought about. I've always wondered what Paige Turner would look like with fetal alcohol syndrome, and here she is. Thank you to the two people who know who Paige Turner really is. And of course, how could I forget my darling, my beautiful Marty Gould Cummings. Thank you for the career, honey. Listen, Marty, congratulations, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Marty Gould Cummings is getting married. Did you hear that, Sherry? Marty's getting married. Kinda makes you want to take your Spanx and tie him in a noose, doesn't it? Marty, 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 your wedding has me asking one question. What do you get the bride who has everything? Antibiotics? Is that on? You're welcome. Bob the drag queen. Bob the drag queen, you look fantastic, girl. Really, really. I've known you for quite a while sometime. I just did not know Lady Gaga does a line at Coles now. So there it is. Honey, this look is a sadder piece of patchwork than the AIDS quilt, and the AIDS quilt at least has pizzazz. Bob! Now careful, honey, you're sitting very close to Sherry, and I wouldn't get too close to Sherry because she'll try to suck the youth out of you like Bette Midler in Hocus Pocus. It's character study, Sherry, character study.
Start with her.
No, I wouldn't. Now, everybody knows that Bob won season 8 of RuPaul's Drag Race, and that... But... did you know that she just missed out on being the clown in Stephen King's It? Ah! My condolences, girl. You're beautiful. I love you. And last, but of course, certainly not least, Sherry Vine, ladies and gentlemen. Sherry Vine. Sherry has been a pioneer of drag here in New York City, and that was after she had been a pioneer who settled the Western Plains. Oregon Trail was actually based on her first series of road gigs, and you wonder why everybody died. Sherry Vine singing is like Fran Drescher transitioning. What? Okay, so listen. The Village Voice has once described Sherry Vine as a treasure, and it's true. Mainly because they wished someone had forgotten where they buried her. Ryan Murphy actually is going to be announcing soon that Sherry Vine will be in the next season of FX's Feud, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that exciting? And the other 2 stars she will be feuding with are Time and Pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sutton Lee Seymour, and I love you, Sherry Vine. Thank you.
You didn't bomb, girl. You didn't bomb. Thank God. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more roaster for you. We saved the something for something. It's actually really great to see Monet and Bob, the drag queen, in the same room. It proves that they're actually not the same person. But because they're in the same room at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, hide your wallets and your bags and anything valuable. Bob, I heard that after season 8, you rented out a 2-story apartment in Manhattan. Awesome, we all want that. But what do you need 2 floors for? One for tacky outfits and the other for your ego? But Bob, it's actually really great that you're here and you freed up some time to come roast this barely living legend. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's Bob the drag queen.
I can't believe I'm here. No, really, I can't fucking believe that I'm here right now. It feels good. First of all, give this day as a huge round of applause. We got a fat girl, an annoying bitch, an alcoholic, and a bitch who can't sing. And that's just Monet Exchange. Marty, your set was rougher than Aja's skin. Jesus Christ. Doesn't it look like Aja got beat with a sack of hot nickels, or is it just me? It is hot. It is hot in this room. I am sweating like a hooker at church or like Anita and Buffum in a well air-conditioned room. All right, make some noise for your host, Ruby Who. You have the nerve to make fun of someone's wig while you have that sweater wrapped around your head? How dare you? Who the fuck are you? Also, make some noise for your host, DJ Mitch Farino, ladies and gentlemen. He's only here because Skyday Rocks was passed out in the corner somewhere. Make some noise for the Jewish princess of Harlem. Her name is Miss Cracker. Miss Cracker has had more black dick in her than the urinal at KFC. And Marty Gould Cummings had less black dick in her than the urinal at Rebar. Make some noise for Tina Burner. Tina Burner is upright tonight. That's amazing. This actually isn't a roast, it's an intervention, Tina. And honestly, you can keep doing drag, but you gotta stop doing comedy. All right, girl? Here's a joke. Tina Burner walked into a bar every day for the next 50 years of her life. What can I say about Tina Burner that hasn't already been said? I loved your show. Sutton Lee Seymour. Somehow, you're like Marty Gould Cummings, but uglier. How did you accomplish that? And you actually did a really good job today. Anita and Buffum, you know, you crushed it. She did. She crushed it. Make some noise for her. Oh, your chair. You crushed it. It's literally recyclables. You crooked fat bitch. You're built like a house in a fucking Tim Burton movie. Anita and Buffum is so fat she walked in front of my TV and I missed the whole 7th season of RuPaul's Drag Race. They say the camera adds 10 pounds. She ate 5 cameras backstage when she came up. Anita and Buffum lives in Astoria, Queens, which is where you live when you don't have enough money to live in Manhattan, but you don't want to live near black people. Make some noise for Marty Gould Cummings, the sea biscuit of drag. You hear that, Marty? That's what applause sounds like. Honestly, it's hard to make fun of Marty Gould Cummings because my mom told me not to make fun of retarded kids. And wait, when I say retarded, I mean it in like the most offensive way possible. Marty Gould Cummings, your eyes are so close together you can look through a peephole with both eyes. Make some noise for my understudy, Monet Exchange. Monet Exchange is the Magilla gorilla of drag. Monet Exchange, when she wears a long blonde wig, she looks like the Pokemon Jinx. The material on her dress is the only thing she has that didn't come from me first. She keeps calling her dress Von Furstenberg. You look like the Von Hindenburg. What does Monet have in common with the painter Monet? They're both artists. They both look beautiful from afar, and neither one of them will ever be on Drag Race. Monet Exchange walks through Hell's Kitchen in full drag. She is 6'2" and somewhere between 300 and 3,000 pounds. Monet has scared more middle-aged white men than prostate cancer. And on to our guest of honor, full-time drag queen, part-time pass-around party bottom. Make some noise for Sherry Vine. How did we end up roasting Sherry Vine? Who said no? You are the Betty White of drag, meaning you were never originally anyone's favorite, but all your friends who were more talented died. Sherry Vine and Miss Cracker, we haven't roasted this many Jews since the Holocaust. What do Jews hate most about the Holocaust? The cost! Oh my God. Miss Cracker and Sherry Vine walked into a bar. Just kidding, it was a gas chamber. Sherry Vine is so old, her blood type is It is no secret that Sherry Vine loves bareback sex. It's true. And I gotta say, I've looked at you up close and honestly, you look good for your age. But honestly, I want to leave on a nice note, because we've said some really nasty stuff up here today. But honestly, what do you call a New York City nightlife legend? What do you call a blonde bombshell with amazing legs? What do you call one of the funniest goddamn drag queens to ever grace the New York City streets? You call her Lady Bunny. And instead, we've got this ugly, shriveled up Jew. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for all of our roasters tonight. While that is the end of our participation, there's one thing that's missing thus far, and that is Sherry Vine. So please, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the woman of the hour. It's Sherry Vine.
Thank you. Wow. Well, to be perfectly honest, I had no idea that I was talking. I thought I was just going to sit there and get roasted, and then it dawned on me yesterday that, oh, right, at the end of those Dean Martin roasts, which, yes, I was old enough to watch them originally, the person who's getting roasted has to get up and talk. Well, I am not a joke writer, but I guess tonight it doesn't matter, obviously. But no, really, I am sincerely honored and to have these talented, some of the biggest, brightest stars, clowns of the New York City nightlife here, and I guess they couldn't get any of my friends, so these guys are here, and that is wonderful. God, look at this piano. Wow, I knew they were going to make lots of old age jokes, okay? Because that's, that's kind of easy, right? Obviously, there's only a few drag queens still performing older than me, but gosh, they couldn't find anyone thinner or prettier. Crazy. Oh my God. Well, Ruby Roo. Can't really write jokes about someone you've never met before. You have no idea who they are, so thank you. No, actually, I was hoping for a battle of wits, but wouldn't be fair to attack someone who's totally unarmed. So anyway, thank you. Monet Exchange. Exchange, I think I'd like a full refund. The funniest part of your roast was trying to watch you fit your entire vocabulary into one sentence. Anita Buffum, also known as Prince Adam from the new Disney live-action film. That's The Beast, by the way. Girl, you were hilarious tonight. You killed it. You were hilarious. God, I wish you could be that funny in your own show. No, but I want to give Anita a round of applause because she recently lost 35 pounds. Give her a round of applause, please, for losing. Kind of like throwing a deck chair off the Titanic, but keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Ms. Cracker, star of that true story Schindler's List. Glad you made it out, girl. Look, I don't care what anyone else says, Cracker. I think you're talented. I had to cross some of these out. Obviously, I'm not the only one that knows how to Google jokes. Cracker, keep doing it, honey. Just keep going for it, because one day you are going to go really far, and I just hope you stay there. Tina Burner. No, really, burn her. Star of so many movies: Sinister, The Witch, Night of the Living Dead, Alien, Nosferatu, in drag. Girl, I wish you'd take some time out of all that time you spend making costumes and get a new medley. God, your ass must be jealous of all the shit that comes out of your mouth. Marty Gould Cummings. I don't care what any of these other bitches say. I love that you're one of the few drag queens that doesn't wear a wig. Be your own. March to your own drum, girl. Thank you. I'm not even kidding. I love that. And now, I didn't know Rachel Maddow was going to be here tonight. Now, I love that you go around telling everyone that I inspired you to do drag. Please stop blaming me. My apologies to everyone. Remember that time I asked you for your opinion on fashion? Yeah, me neither. Bob the drag queen. First of all, congratulations on your recent Oscar win for Fences. Yes, girl. Yes. Congratulations, honey. From Drag Race to an Oscar. That is crazy. Honey, you have spent so much time since RuPaul's Drag Race being funny, and it's nice that you took tonight off. Sutton Lee Seymour, can you put your glasses back on for a second? Now look in the mirror. The only one I didn't get off the internet. You gave me that. Sincerely and honestly, I'm so happy to be here tonight, and I love all of you. Thank you.